Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Paul, and I am a nerd, and you are lucky enough to be here for the October 2019 Worldox Virtual User Group meeting, where today we are taking a quick look at filtering. Mary Jo is going to talk about that, and a Web 3.0, which should be out. Actually, was just announced that it is out and can be shipping to people at this point. I'll take a look at that afterwards.
All right, so I'm going to go out to Worldox, and I'm going to go to a client. We're just going to make sure we're in City of Mesa. We are, and just do this list of documents on the screen here. And I'm just going to move a couple things out of the way so you can see this a little better here once this brings up my documents. And come on, it's being slow here, Paul.
I hope Gosh, we never touched
There they are. There they are. They're
so many
here.
Different copies of Worldox.
I'm just going to slide our little bar over here, and I'm going to get us back over here to this little corner so we've got our full list. There we go. So we come into a matter, and we have all these documents, and we want to sort through these documents to find certain documents that we want to look at. Maybe by type, maybe by category, maybe by who authored them, who typed them, all kinds of different things we can sort this list by. Now you may know that we can sort on some columns up here, and we can say by date modified, or we can add doc ID or doc type into our column headers. There's lots of things here that we can do to sort our documents at the top. We can even type in the list to find a different description or things like that. But what I want to focus on today is this little filter button down here in the lower left corner. And when we click on that, we will get a list of all of the different options. And I'm going to pull this up so you can see it. I'm just going to kind of make it a little bigger here so it'll pull it up on the screen. But every different kind of option we have up here that we have categorized documents as will be listed down here on the screen. So we can see the different types of documents, and this is the type. What this means is not doc type, but is it a Word document? Is it an Excel document? Is it a email document, a PDF? What kind of document is this? This is the type. So we can sort by that. I want to see all of the Word documents, and I click on that little plus sign there, and it will then load all of the Word documents up above on my list. I filtered out everything else. I can say I want all of the Word documents that are agreements, and it's going to further filter my list out to give me just the Word documents that are coded as a doc type of agreement. And I want the ones that have been authored by Ray. And so now I'm going to get down to just the files that were Word documents that are agreements that were authored by Ray. And you can see I can pick and choose multiple options here to figure out and narrow down exactly which document I'm looking for. The bigger the type, you'll see that Ray is in really big letters as opposed to CD, which is very small, just tells me that I have more documents authored by Ray than I do CDs that are authored by CD. Or documents authored by CD. And if you hover over it, CD tells me I have 99 documents that were authored by Chris Donati. And if I go to Ray, you'll see that I have 6,024 documents. That's why it's taking so long to get the City of Mesa to load my list, because I have so many documents under this matter. But you can get a feel for how many documents are of each type by hovering over any of these names or letters or whatever these are to see what I have. So this is just kind of coming through and letting me exclude. So let's say that I want to see everything except the email messages, because I wanted to see all the other documents, no email messages. What you can do is over here on the very beginning, see all these plus signs in the first column here. If I click on the plus sign for type, and I'm going to wait till these documents load here. So if I click on this plus sign over here for type, it changes it to a minus sign. So what I'm saying is now, if I click on message, don't show me the messages, email messages, but show me everything else. So it's excluding the email messages now, and my list will have all of the other documents that are out there that are not email addresses. And I could do, show me the ones that are not authored by somebody or whatever. So you can combine that, maybe all of the documents that aren't emails and they are a type of agreement or so on. And pick and choose so you can really narrow this list down and filter out the things you don't want to see and hone in on those documents that you really are trying to find that fit your descriptions. Now each matter, each document list that you have on the screen has these options available. So if I had multiple matters up here, and just a whole bunch of lists, of documents that are across different matters, different types, and so on, I would have more options here, maybe for the client, or things like that I can narrow it down even further. So this is really helpful for a lot of people to get to that specific document when they just aren't able to find it in a different way. When I want to get back to my regular list, I'm going to just come down here and click on this little arrow pointing down, and it is going to then take off my filters, and it'll go ahead and get back to my list. And I said it'll take them off. It actually will just hide the filters. I'd have to still remove those filters because right now I'm seeing I guess it is off. Okay. Yeah, I got it off. Okay. I clicked it, but I wasn't fast enough to see if it was gone. So we're back to then our regular list here that we have. So keep this filter button in mind when you're looking for a document and you have a large list of documents on the screen. This will really help you a lot.
I've heard somebody recently describe this in a way that made a lot more sense to me than any other way. First off, of course.
Thank you, Paul. I appreciate that.
No, I'm sorry. You're welcome.
Maybe you should have prevented this.
No, you did.
Anyway,
you did a wonderful job.
I'm kidding. Go ahead.
They compared it to the filtering at Amazon.
Oh, yes.
You go and you search for blouses, but then you get a lot of options. There's price ranges, number of star ratings.
That's true.
Same sort of thing. And the reason that it makes so much sense to me, at least, is that you start with a list. Like we started with the City of Mesa's documents, or maybe a search of all the documents that have testamentary in the contents of the document. Any sort of search, any sort of list, and then you filter. And I do that all the time. I go to Amazon and I search for something. The first thing I do is I say I only want things that are prime because I want it tomorrow. I don't know why. And then I say I want 4 stars or more.
There you
go. And it's the same sort of
I
thing.
like that.
That
is a good analogy.
You want to find.
Thank you.
Awesome. Awesome. I'm going to very quickly give you a glimpse of Web 3.0. And I'm going to do it first. I need to do a couple things housekeeping-wise. I need to unload Worldox Desktop because Web 3.0 is meant to be run on a machine that is not currently running Worldox Desktop. And by that I mean, you don't run it at the same time that you're in Worldox at the office. And there's several ways I can go there. Now I happen to have a shortcut here. You can just go to the web address, but I wanted a quick way to do it. And this happens to be the web address for the demo system that I'm showing. So you can go to the website. And so I'm going to open Worldox Web 3.0 in Chrome. And it may authenticate, it may already consider me to be authenticated. It does because I was just in here. So it's held on to that. It hasn't been that long since I was out. And this is it. Now I'm going to show you this, and then I'm going to show you why this isn't the way to go there. Okay? So it's very, very cool. It's very fast. It's very responsive. It looks and feels like Worldox. It has much more functionality that mimics what the desktop version, on-prem version, does than the old Web 2.5. Things are no longer strictly number-oriented. It used to be that in the old Worldox Web that you had to know the codes and the numbers. You couldn't search for things by names like you can in the desktop version. That's been eliminated. Your favorite matters, your favorite files, your favorite Office document or Word document or your chosen favorites, they all follow you here. We have multiple tabs. We have checking out and checking in. We have virtually all the functionality. You couldn't see categories in the old 2.5 version. There was just a lot missing and such a difference in the user interface that it just wasn't functional for a lot of people. Not to mention that it functioned like this. Now I'm going to show you this, and you're going to say, well, that's horrible, and then I'm going to show you how you get around it. So if I take this contract for hire and I want to open it up, if I click on it here in a Google Chrome browser running Worldox Web 3.0, what it'll do is it will ask me first, do I want to see the version list, because it happens to be a document that has multiple versions, so just like it would in the desktop version. And I'm going to say, no, I just want the latest version. And then it downloads it, okay? And then you would have to open that up and then save your changes and then re-upload it to Worldox. And that's not what they were after. But what they found when they started developing this was that if they are in a regular browser, they don't have enough control, so they released this. I'm going to get out of the Worldox Web 3.0 running in a browser, and I'm going to run what they call the Worldox Web Integration Agent. And when I do this, it looks pretty much the same. It's basically the same browser-based version, just in a browser that Worldox is presenting to you. So again, it's a browser, and you're loading Worldox, and it's looking the same. I'm going to go to my favorites. I'm going to find my favorite files. You'll see that everything looks and functions exactly the same, because this is just a browser that doesn't happen to be Chrome or Internet Explorer or Firefox or Mozilla or any of those. It happens to be a browser that Worldox has put their own skin on top of to make it theirs. And therefore, when I click on Contract for Hire and it asks me, there we go, do I want to open the selected file? Oops, sorry, I got a little bit impatient. And I say, yes, I'd like the most recent version. Instead of checking it out and then just downloading it, it checks it out, because I am opening it now on my local machine, but it does that for me. And this is what's huge about the new version of Worldox Web 3.0 that is its biggest differentiator between any other version of Worldox Web Mobile 2.5 or earlier, is that it can hook directly into the applications just like it would on your desktop. I can add some more text. You can see I've been very imaginative in the text I've added so far, so I will continue along that line. And when I go to save in Word, just like always, Worldox pops up, knows that this was version 5, I believe it was version 5, and presents to me the option to save as version 6, or to replace the file, or to save as a new file, just like the desktop version. This is what people have been waiting for, a web-enabled portal or form of entry into their on-prem documents that's 110% secure, more secure than your bank's portal, probably, with all the functionality that you're used to, and what we call the soft pops, meaning that when I go to save something, Worldox pops up. I don't have to save it and then re-upload it into the system. I don't have to download it and then open it up. I click on it, Worldox checks it out, opens up Word, presents me the file. I go to save it as version 6. I do that now. It puts the file away, it checks it back in, and I'm back in the Worldox Web Agent simply by clicking there. That is really what I want to give you as a flavor for Worldox Web 3.0. I want to stress that all the things that you've grown accustomed to, at least let's say 80 to 85% of the things you've grown accustomed to on the desktop, like bookmarks and workspaces and projects and cabinets and favorite matters, all these things, favorites that follow you anywhere, everything that you're used to in operating in a Worldox environment on the desktop is here. In a slightly different orientation or user interface, I should say, but not one that's so startlingly different that it's unusable for people. This is something that people look at and immediately know what to do with. We've got the soft pop hook, we've got the integration that we're looking for, and we've got the look and feel and the ability to do things pretty much the way you would do them in the desktop version. If you want to see more of this, I would recommend that we set up a one-on-one demo, because everybody's going to have different questions, and because I'm not quite ready to totally demonstrate every little nook and cranny, because I am just getting into it myself. Patty tells me that we should make time for a question or two. What do you have, Patty?
How do you upload your documents to the Worldox Web?
Well, if you simply go into Word and create a new document and go to save it, Worldox is going to pop up as long as you're running it in this way that I've just demonstrated. So if you need to create a new document and pull it up, you simply Could start like you normally would. You go to Word, you go to Excel, and you create a document, and when you go to save it, you save it to Worldox. If instead you're asking, well, I've got a document maybe that's on my C drive that I created on the train on the way home or something, then what you'd want to do is simply drag it up to the drop zone or work zone. You'll notice we have a work zone here that came up when I loaded the Worldox Web Integration Agent, just like the work zone that we have in the regular desktop version. So I can take any file. I could take a file from my desktop and drag it up here, and you'll notice it turns into that drop into the folder sort of icon, and if I were to let it go, it would prompt me to put this document away in Worldox. So that's how you upload one. But really, I think what the person was asking is, how do you just get something into it? And that's the same way you always have. But here's how you take something that already exists. And if that person was asking, well, how do you get them into the Worldox web as opposed to the regular Worldox? This is accessing your Worldox on your system. It's not a separate place where you put stuff. It is a separate way to access the stuff that you've already put on the system on your computer. So if instead you were asking, how do I get things into the Worldox web, thinking it was a totally separate place, it's not. It's just a different way, a web-based portal, if you will, into those documents that exist on your drive. More questions, Patty?
Just to follow up to that one, he wants to know, are you saying that Worldox Web 3.0 is connected to the documents on your server?
Yes, that's exactly right. It is connected to the documents on your server. So you can work on a document in the office, put it away in your regular Worldox desktop, go home and fire this up on your home computer or your laptop or whatever, and access that same document using the same search, using the same sort of bookmark, using the same sort of direct access, pull it up, edit it, and save it back up there. Okay, that's it. Now, how much does it cost? Nothing. So if you already have Worldox Web, you know that it didn't used to cost nothing. It used to cost a certain amount of money per month per user if it was hosted by them, or a certain amount of money if you were going to buy the server and put it on your machine. None of that anymore, and it's something that we can install for you. So when I say nothing, you do need to get it installed. It's wise to have a separate machine operate as a proxy, something that kind of presents a shield separating the outside world from your actual Worldox server. So think of it as being like the indexer. It's just an extra machine that makes it work. Usually your IT people can spin one of these up in your virtual server box, but it does require a separate machine. It does require a little bit of installation. Nothing like it used to be. It used to be a real bear to install. This one is much simpler to install. So somebody needs to install it, and that somebody would have to be us. Worldox will not let you install it yourself. It's a little bit more complex than that, but it's certainly not as complex as it used to be. So, but it's included now. So if you update to the latest version of, I believe it's WDU14 is still what we're after, what we're looking at as far as the latest version, then this will just be there, or the ability to install this will just be there. It does require a separate license code, so if you're going to install it, we need to know. We need to be the ones to install it, and we need to be the ones to request that code. It takes about, I'd say an hour to two is what we would plan on for installing, and you might want to have some training for your people to understand how to use it. It's a little bit different. They have to understand how to load the web agent. But as far as cost for the software, no monthly costs anymore, no upfront cost. It's included with your subscription, or with your maintenance, I should say. That's that. Next month, we're going to talk about categories and projects, ways to group things, ways to put things into buckets. Lawyers and paralegals, I guess everybody likes to put things into buckets. And back in the old days, before you had Worldox, that was folders. And so categories and projects are two ways to kind of simulate folders, only they're better than folders, because if you're going to put the same document into two folders, you're creating a copy of it. But if you put the same document into two projects, or you give this two different documents the same category to group them together, you're still dealing with only one document. So Mary Jo and I will take those two topics. Mary Jo will talk about categories, and I'll talk about projects. Of course, we know that you can't come to a live event without me showing you how to get to all the other pre-recorded content that's on our website. So if you go to attorneycomputersystems.com, noticing the emphasis on that last S in the word systems, because it's very important. And if you either hover over or click on the word videos, you'll see if I hover over it, I get the short list, but I'm going to click on the word videos and get the long page that lists all of our video titles. You'll see that we have 6 of them, and the top 4 are the live events, 3 of them being virtual user group meetings, and you know what that is because you're in a Worldox virtual user group meeting right now. We also have virtual user group meetings for Tabs and Practice Master. And I have my monthly Coffee Pot webinar series where I invite somebody from a third-party company that has a product or a service that somehow enhances the value of our core products, Worldox, Tabs, Practice Master, NetDocuments, and Cosmolex. And I invite that person to come on to this webinar and talk about their company, talk about their product, demonstrate it, talk about the pricing, answer questions. Very useful resource to find other things that you can add on to your existing Worldox installation or Practice Master or Tabs or whatever. We also have 2 pre-recorded titles that aren't live events. Mary Jo has her eBytes video series. Currently she records 3 of these each month, 1 on Tabs, 1 on Practice Master, 1 on Worldox. These are short 2 or 3 minute videos where we take something really cool that we know we can explain really quickly, some sort of feature or function that maybe a lot of people don't know about, and we record an eByte. For the things that take longer to explain, Mary Jo or I will do a Paul and Mary Jo show where we take a bit more time, 10, 15, sometimes 20 minutes to get deep into the weeds of whatever it is that we're trying to explain or talk about or describe, covering all the bases and really pushing the envelope as far as what we cover and what we talk about. We record 1 of those each month, and we rotate between Tabs and Practice Master and Worldox. If we go, for instance, to one of these live events, each title has its own more info page that lists all the available titles. So let's go to the Worldox Virtual User Group meeting page, just so we can see that at the top we have the title of the video title, the description of that series as a whole, and then since this is a live event, we have information on and plus date and time for the next event, what we're going to cover, and the fields to register, and the register button. And then as you scroll down, you will find recorded versions of everything else we've ever done in that series. So you'll notice that the one that we're currently at, the October 2019 Virtual User Group Meeting for Worldox, is currently in post-production. It'll after they're done, they take about a week or 2 to show up on the website. But then as we scroll down, here's recorded versions of everything else we've ever done. And you'll notice that in the Worldox, there it is. In the Worldox group, we have 16 pages with about 5 or 6 videos per page. So we've been doing these for a bit of time. And in fact, we have somewhere between 800 and 900 videos on our website, all dealing with Worldox, Tabs, Practice Master, NetDocuments, Cosmolex, or something that adds value to those core products. You can also search if you click on if you're not a browser and don't want to sort through them all and look at them that way, you can just click on the magnifying glass and type a word that you think might appear in the description or the title and find things that way. So these are there 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. They are for you to use. They are absolutely free, so please take advantage of them. They're there for you. Everybody have a good rest of the day and a good rest of the month, and we will see you in November. Bye-bye.